Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here today. We're excited to see lots of people here. And today we're going to be talking about adapting to changes in travel affiliate marketing. Now, we all know that the travel industry itself has changed a lot in the past year and a half. So I'm really excited to talk to the experts from Rentalcars, EatWith, and OYO about sort of how it's affected their business and how they see things going forward.
And we just want to give a big shout out to Travelpayouts for putting this on. I think it's really great how they always put on these educational presentations every once in a while so we can all learn a lot. And for those of you who don't know what Travelpayouts is they are a travel-only affiliate network. And they have more than 300,000 affiliate partners. That would be people like Dave and I.
Mm-hmm.
And they have more than 90, we're the registered affiliate, and the 90 partners are the people like Rentalcars, EatWith, and OYO. So I think we're going to learn a lot today. Dave and I are going to ask a lot of questions. So let's get started.
All right. So to kick things off, we'll do a little bit of an introduction of everybody who's going to be with us today, and we'll start off. Hey, with us, we are your moderators, Dave and Deb from ThePlanetD. Now, we started ThePlanetD.com back in 2008, and it's actually been our full-time job since 2010. So this is our living. We've been doing it full time. We built up quite a large following over those years. Forbes named us one of the top 10 travel influencers in the world. So that was pretty cool.
It was cool. We were happy.
Yes.
And we've really seen a big change over these more than a decade. When we first started, it was all about, for us, partnering with tourism boards and brands and running from one contract to another. And we always thought that we had to be an affiliate market to do any affiliate marketing, that we needed like 1 million views a month on our website. And we were like, we're never going to do that. But once we learned that you didn't need that 1 million views a month, our whole life changed. And now we really split our time between doing campaigns, affiliate marketing, and ad networks. So today we're concentrating on affiliate marketing, and that is a huge one where we've seen a big change. And we're going to ask a lot of questions for all of you.
Yeah, so you'll see us interjecting with sort of our views as well as questions from the affiliate marketer side of things. So that will sort of be our role today. And let's take a look and let's actually meet our panelists for today. We're going to have some great experts here. We have Petr from Rentalcars, we have Ester from EatWith, and Surabhi from OYO. So they're all going to take a couple minutes just to talk a little bit about their company and what it's all about, so you know where they're coming from. And then we'll get started with the questions. So over to you, Petr. You can kick things off.
Hi, everyone. It's great to be here with you. I really thank Travelpayouts for putting this together. It's a great opportunity to find out what's going on in our world, really. So I'm just going to share the screen quickly. Okay. Here we go. Okay, guys, can you see it? Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, good. Great. So, hi, I'm Petr from Rentalcars. Rentalcars.com is a brand that belongs under Booking.com. We are the ground transport business unit, or what we now call actually Trips business unit. And this is our mission. Our mission is to make it easier for everyone to experience the world. So what we are trying to do is to offer all our customers all the experiences connected to travel that they can think of, from booking a flight to booking an accommodation, car rental, or even transport to the airport and so on. So that's our sort of vision of making travel absolutely frictionless and easy for everyone. So what we're doing at the moment with Travelpayouts is we offer car rental partnership and also to our partners. And what we are also doing for sort of trying to make the offer a bit more varied is we are working on transfers in public transport, but also some other services connected to travel that are not available to partners just yet, but they will be very soon. So at the moment, car rental is our main focus, and we are the biggest online car rental service in the world. We are offering cars in 60,000 locations across 160 countries, and we work with over 1,200 suppliers, car rental companies. So the variety of options is unrivaled, really, with us. So why work with us? It just makes sense for any travel-related content website to include car rental in their content, because obviously it makes it for the user to come back to find relevant content, and of course it makes money as well. So we are really grateful to Travelpayouts for this partnership, and it's working really well. So I'm gonna talk a little bit more about that later on, how to best promote this service. We work with many partners from some top airlines like Ryanair, for example, which is our largest partner, through airport websites, online travel agents. We have loyalty providers, and so on. So here you can see some of the examples, obviously including Travelpayouts and Aviasales as well. Okay. There is a little bit of Russian text about the details of the affiliate program at Travelpayouts, but basically I think what you guys need to know is Travelpayouts will give you 6% back from any completed car rental booking. So that means the customer has to return the car back to the car rental company, and then in the next month or so you will receive your reward. So this is basically how it works. And over to Surabhi. I'm just gonna stop sharing.
Hi guys, so I'm sharing my screen, and is it visible now?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So hi guys, I'm Surabhi from OYO Rooms, and I primarily work for the US region. I manage the entire affiliate marketing piece and the partnership piece for the US region in OYO. Speaking about OYO, we have, I think most of you know, and for those it's a new concept altogether. OYO is an Indian startup which was basically, opened its stores in 2013 with a vision to operate primarily in India. But I think we've seen phenomenal growth in the last 4 to 5 years, and we, expanded our boundaries across the globe, not just in India and Southeast Asia, but even in China, Europe, US, Japan, you name the country, and it will surely be in one of our portfolios. So currently, we're operating in 80 plus cities with 80 plus countries and 800 cities altogether, and having 1.2 million rooms every day for the sale. Speaking about OYO in US, we started back in 2019 our expansion in US, and the expansion till now has been phenomenal. I think sadly for all of us in the industry, COVID had been a turmoil year in 2020, but nevertheless that is not bringing us down in any way forward. We are cubing in the best way forward. OYO in US, I think primarily is located in the southern states of the US. The concentration is more. Nevertheless, we're expanding more to other states in the US as well. And speaking about the gender mix and the people who are we are primarily a budget set of hotels, and people who are checking into the properties are generally in 25 to 44 years of the age group, and the median income of such people is around $50,000 a year. And as we all say that OYO, there is one for everyone. That's a proposition we have been propagating from day one when we started in India, and I think that's stands still across the globe when we are expanding. What makes OYO different from other hospitality brands or OTAs? I think the best thing is that, as I mentioned in my previous slides, that there is one for everyone. We have no discrimination across the geographies, and we welcome each and every guest to come and stay with us and experience the offering we have. We ensure that there is a basic maintained, especially when we are operating in a budget segment. We often tend to see that the standards are not up to the mark, but OYO has ensured across the globe that whatever standards they are promising in that geography, they stand still. For example, in US, we ensure that there is a free Wi-Fi, spotless linen, clean bathrooms, TVs, and a good bed for you to ensure that your stay is a good completely good a good experience for you altogether. And definitely we are present on the mobile app as well as on the website, and it's a 3-step booking process, very easy for anyone and everyone. And although COVID has bring a lot of scenarios where hospitality brands have changed their cancellation policy, but OYO from day one has been of the opinion that we give the maximum flexibility to our users, and you can cancel at any point of the booking, and you can book even without a card, which I think is a very big mandate for most of the hospitality brands in the US and Europe. And yes, we are present across all the major channels. We are present on the app, web, call center, and even you can go and walk into the OYO and make a reservation for yourself. Major cities in the US where we are operating are Houston, mostly the ones closer to Texas, Houston, Baton Rouge, Tulsa, Oklahoma. And this seems to be the main season where we are getting the maximum demand, April to October, and with vaccinations happening, I think we are seeing good, return of travel to the entire geography altogether. And as and when the other parts of the world are recovering, we will definitely start seeing a lot of international flow also. The booking window mostly is 2 days into the check-in date. And now I will, quickly move into the affiliate program which we have. We are working with Travelpayouts. I think thanks a lot the entire travel payout team for conducting this, and giving the opportunity to both bloggers as well as publishers to come together and understand what are the main key learnings which have happened in the last 1 year, and how we can best make use of the entire proposition across the table. So yeah, OYO is offering 12% commission for every successful checkout which happens, and that's for US. You can definitely see the numbers which we are offering in other geographies also. So from 12% to 4.5% in Japan, and you can get this commission even if you book through a desktop version or a mobile version. And the payouts will definitely happen within 19 days of the checkout. So yeah, that's pretty much about OYO. Happy to see you again. Passing the ball to Esther. Thank you.
Hello guys, happy to be here today to talk about EatWith, and thank you so much everybody, the other panelists and Travelpayout, to give us this opportunity. So let me share my screen pretty quickly. So I hope that you can see it right now. Hope so. So, well, let's talk about, as I said, EatWith and our unforgettable culinary experiences. I love to call it in this way, actually, because I mean, the thing that we love to do is organizing really unique dining experiences across the world. EatWith is a startup created in 2014, and our mission is really to connect people through food. We are right now, after, let's say, 7 years, the largest community of hosts for authentic culinary experiences around the world. We are present in more than 130 countries, so we are basically cover all the globe, and we are working with more than 25,000 hosts that are hand-selected by our team. Because really our idea is to connect people that are traveling or are seeking for great culinary experiences with local hosts who organize this event at their place, their home, or in exclusive venue. As you can see here, we have some numbers, like, for example, the 72% of bookings are right now made in the local and domestic market, and we have increased a lot our number of repeaters around the globe. I love to call it like the magic of EatWith, actually, because as I said before, of course, it's a culinary experiences, but well, our community, it's really working to create something that is unique and forgettable, because the idea it's just really to create a human connection. It's just not around food, but it's really to meet new people and really discover a new culture. So it's something that I think we will discuss it later about the new trends in travel, but I think that authenticity and looking for something different to do, it's really something that, I mean, after the pandemic, we all want to, you know, meet new people and also have different experiences in our own city or when we are traveling. So EatWith experiences are, of course, for individuals and groups, and also we are organizing online experiences, but I will tell you right now. So our core business, I mean, our core product, it's the private dining experiences. So we are organizing dinners all around the world for small groups, for families, and all kind of cuisine. And we have different hosts from master chefs and trained Michelin star chef, to really people that are just, you know, chefs or really passionate about food that they want to organize and host at their place this event. We have also food tours, cooking classes, and actually starting from last year, we'd also start to create online cooking classes in collaboration with MasterChef in the US and also with other hosts in the rest of Europe. Why should join EatWith affiliate program? Of course, I mean, the commission, it's a relevant part. So we are offering for each completed booking 6% of commission back. And also because, I mean, another thing that I think it's really important for an affiliate is the fact that we are offering a really great variety of events. So we are covering basically all the vertical for foods, covering a lot of different trends from vegan, vegetarian, plant-based kind of cuisine. So I think it's really, you know, also something that is really interesting to write and to promote about. We have experience from all budget, really. Our average basket is quite high because, I mean, right now it's about $150, but it's true that we have also experiences that are really even for solo travelers or really backpackers, because we really want, you know, to have a platform that was really appealing to everybody. We have also an NPS and also a rate for all the reviews that is pretty high. As you can see, it's 4.9 out of 5. As I said before, we are collaborating with more than 25,000 local hosts around the world. So I'm sure that, I mean, we are covering a lot of destinations. We are multilingual because we have our website is in 6 different languages. And also, I mean, we have, of course, a dedicated team that it's dedicated to partnership that can really help you if you have any doubt to select the best experience to promote. So that is pretty much it. So I'm happy to give the word to Deb and Dave and all your questions.
All right. I think this is really great that we have such different perspectives and we have such a variety of people that we're going to talk to today. I think having food and booking and car rentals is going to be perfect for everyone to learn. Now there's going to be some questions on the side. People have already started asking and we're going to interject them as we go. Don't worry, we will get to your questions for sure. But I think that we might get onto the meat of it first so that we can start getting in after these awesome presentations. I know I have a lot of questions.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. So the way things are going to work is we're going to break it down into basically 3 different blocks. So the first block, we'll talk about the travel industry itself, and then we'll get into talking about each different affiliate program. And then finally, we'll talk about some best practices, which I'm sure everybody wants to know, especially in today's day and age and how things are going. The best practices to get out there and promote these affiliates so the affiliate partners can actually put some money in their pockets. So let's get started. Yep.
Yeah, and I've already seen somebody ask about the main recommendations for promoting on a travel blog, and that is actually going to be one of the questions that we have throughout this throughout this presentation as well. So I think we will leave them until the end, just so that we don't, interrupt the flow of it. So something that we wanted to start with, because I think a lot of people are really thinking after this past year and a half about how have intentions changed. And this is something as travel bloggers where we've always, for the past 10 years, had these, just rule of thumb that always worked for us. Have you been noticing a real difference in the way that people are spending their money, the way their lead up time for booking? So I just wanted to hear a little bit. Maybe we'll start with Petr. It's been a while since we've heard from you. So can you tell us what you've noticed for 2021 about the intentions of people booking their rental cars with you?
Yes. Obviously, it has changed a lot. There has been a massive impact on customers' behavior for car rental. Absolutely. Obviously, the car rental industry in general is very reliant on air travel and international travel. So obviously, the first thing that we noticed was naturally people started booking domestically much more than internationally because they just couldn't go anywhere. But what has also changed are some other elements of the booking. They started booking a little bit more in advance. So some customers are trying to look a bit more in the future. Obviously, flexibility is quite a key part to that as well. And we've seen, I think we're going to talk about that maybe later on as well, but we've seen some really major changes to the car rental offering in terms of prices and things like that. So that impacted the booking behavior a lot as well.
So when you say flexibility, how is your return policy or your cancellation policy with car rentals? And should bloggers be focusing on that, saying, watch for this?
They absolutely should, because what we've realized with some partners and also with our core business is that the customers are less sensitive to marketing messaging, like save a bit on this booking, so save 5%, save 10%. Right. But they are really focused on flexibility. So we offer pretty much nearly all our bookings are free of charge to cancel up to 48 hours before the pickup. And they are also free to change. Obviously, if there's a fair difference, then that will be charged, but there's no fee. So this is really important to our customers, and we've seen in the numbers that this amazingly has higher impact than the price messaging. So yeah.
Yeah, that is amazing. But then you did mention something about the price that we touch on. You got me curious. Are you saying that the average price has gone up, or?
Yeah, so if any of you guys have tried to book a car recently, you were thinking, oh, Jesus, this is really expensive, especially if you had this car rental experience before, because the prices have skyrocketed. And this is mainly due to availability and the size of the fleets that the car rental providers can offer to customers. So the demand is higher than what they can offer. So the reason for that is that during the pandemic, obviously there has been some reduction in fleets. So the car rental companies have been getting rid of cars. But also there is a major issue with car manufacturing at the moment, especially when it comes to chips. So each car has several hundred chips in them, controlling your, closing the windows or GPS and so on. And these chips mostly ended up in laptops because we were working from home, all of us. So there was a massive demand in that. And then when the car manufacturers came back to the suppliers of these chips, the suppliers said, well, hang on, we've got contracts with laptop manufacturers. We haven't got the, but I think it's getting there. We can see a little bit of reduction in prices recently. So I think the market will balance itself out over time. And also what we're working on really hard is to find the sweet spot of profitability. So obviously, when you've got higher prices, there is higher margin per booking. So that means also higher revenue for per booking for our affiliate partners. So
something to think about, definitely.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
So we're kind of working hard on that.
That's great. That's a good overview of what's happening in that industry. And I'm really curious, Surabhi, in the hotel industry, how things have changed. Like are people booking more? Do you see them, booking more budget hotel rooms where they would book mid-range before, or any sort of shift in the way they're booking their hotel rooms or what they're actually looking for?
Yeah, so definitely, Dave, I think COVID has changed a lot of habits of the users in the last 1 year. From moving from the budget segment, people are now prioritizing staying in vacation rentals or much luxury spaces, and the primary reasons being the safety, which people are looking out for even when they are traveling and they've started traveling across the globe. And that definitely goes out and says that how cautious we have become of the pandemic, and that is how what OYO is also coming out and clearly professing across, that we are ensuring that be it a budget room they take or they take a vacation rental or a luxurious place with us, we are ensuring that it is well sanitized and scrubbed, and effective communication of this message is there. I think affiliates should also start working on this, because that will, people today when they are booking, they are looking out for such things. Initially the concern was merely around cancellation policies, or maybe they can take a pet to the property, but now the laundry list of checks which they do before traveling has increased, and more focused towards the hygiene which the hotel is offering. And since the operational cost increases when you ensure such safety guidelines into the entire booking structure, the average prices have also gone up. But we've seen that most of the community is pretty much they don't complain about higher prices. What they want is, if they're taking a tour, detour from their work from 3 to 4 days, they have a safe accommodation to stay at, versus saving on that penny or a dollar, and booking something else which just comforts the financial aspect of the entire thing.
Right, so they're focusing more on actually cleanliness and safety than price. That takes priority, whereas before price was probably the more driving factor when people were booking accommodations.
Yeah. So initially, the pre-COVID, most of the hospitality brands were professing out discounting and going out at get $5 discount or get a 30% discount. But for today, the main concerns of the user is the flexibility to book and cancel, and the intent to book. The booking window has also changed. Initially, OYO used to get 70% of the bookings in the from the date of check-in within 7 days of check-in, and rest 30% was about after 30 days, or even with pay in hand. But we've seen that shift drastically after COVID. People are planning mostly 2 or 3 days in advance before traveling, so it's a more unanticipated kind of a travel. And having said that, dynamic pricing is what OYO works on, and because obviously the demand and supply gap has to be maintained when the peak is there, so prices are also increasing. But what I mentioned earlier, it's not just about discounting or the loyalty programs which the hospitality brands were going out and professing. It's much more about how good the user experience will be at the property, value of money with safety concerns in hand. Yeah.
Right. I think that's an important thing to note. I think that's probably across all industries, and that, safety and cleanliness has taken much more of a front seat in a deciding factor in how much money you're going to put out and how much money you're going to spend on your particular vacation. Now, I know you mentioned vacation rentals a little bit earlier on when you were talking about how the intentions have changed. That brings us to actually one of the questions I might as well ask that here from Vinny, and he was saying, is OYO like Airbnb? And if it is, what are the similarities or what are the differences?
Yeah, so I will not say that OYO as a brand is like Airbnb. We have a lot of subcategories within the country. We definitely have vacation rentals also as a category in Southeast Asia, and a lot of major acquisitions in Europe. We have stays where people can book in, check in, similar experience like Airbnb, but more the vacation rentals in Europe are more on the luxury side, whereas Airbnb gives you a plethora of budget to luxury segments across the globe. In US, definitely we are not there in terms of vacation rental here. We are in verge of launching, and it will be there in the next couple of months here. But yes, OYO has categories which are flagship, where we have own flagship hotels which we've launched ourselves, and the entire operations is managed by OYO. And then there are hotels. Maximum portfolio is where we take the hotel from the owner and then manage the entire demand for the owner, and in return the owner gives us the check-in experience, and the operations are managed by the owner at the property. So yeah, we definitely have a good mix of vacation rentals, Airbnbs, and own hotels.
Yeah, and I think it's important to to show the difference there so people understand actually how the OYO system works and how it's different from Airbnb or maybe a traditional hotel booking service, right?
And I'm pretty excited to talk about food because Dave and I were just in Switzerland, and we were amazed about all the food experiences that people were embracing again. Like, that was something that I was wondering if people would go back to, the food experiences. And I think that it's one thing that's picking up really quickly.
For sure.
So
yes, guys. I mean, it's totally true, actually, because as we are organizing food experiences, as you know, we are following all the restriction and regulation put in place for restaurants in general. But I have to say that starting from April, when UK and Israel reopen up restaurants, we see a really rebound everywhere, because people just want to go out, they want to have fun, they want to have experiences. So I think that after months of lockdowns, just people want to go to a restaurant having amazing food. So that's why if I have to sum up what the other said about the intention of travelers, I will say, of course, like domestic, because people are staying more close to home, local. And also about the budget, people are not really caring about how much they are spending for a single dinner, for example, but they just want to have something that it's unique. And another thing that I've noticed is I think it's really good in terms of affiliate. It's the fact that people just want also to have different experiences in their own city. Because if you think about, we are not maybe able to travel, or we are afraid about restrictions. So we have seen, for example, that in the first months after the lockdown in UK, that was pretty long, the event that went sold out immediately were a coffee ceremony from Ethiopia and a Malaysian supper club. That it's amazing, because
wow.
That's really take the trend of trying to travel in your own city. Because it's true that if you live in a big city like London, New York, Berlin, or Paris, it's true that you can experience different type of cuisine, or having a different night out, having traveling for one night, I don't know, to Ethiopia and having a coffee ceremony. I don't know whether I'll be able to travel to Ethiopia, but if you think about that, you can have an experience similar to the real one in your own city. I think it's great. That's really something that I could notice immediately. People just want to go out. And talking about food, I think it's really the link that we have for socialization in general. So imagine how, it was really, this summer was really crazy for us, and we were super happy to see people that really want to have food experiences everywhere in the world. Of course, especially in, I think in Europe and in the US, that there are the market that there are, the main market for us. But we have seen a recovery more or less everywhere.
I think that's such a great point for us affiliates, because I always think about food experiences and think about when I'm traveling, going, okay, what's a Thai food experience in Bangkok, or what's a French food experience in France? But I have a lot of London content. I've never written about food experiences in London. And now that's something that I can think about in the future, going, oh, well, maybe I can actually start adding these really unique food experiences to the London locals that I never would have thought of before.
Yeah, definitely.
So I like that idea of giving these different ideas.
Yeah, I think, supper clubs that give you, the magic and also some tips to write about something different. Because now people, I mean, of course, I don't know, I'm talking about Europe, we are not allowed to have a lot of concerts or this kind of stuff, but it's cool to, promote this private setting kind of bespoken events where you can go that are super safe, everything is checked. So you can go there, enjoy your night out and having an amazing food that, of course, I mean, can come from all over the world. So I think that it's really interesting for everybody right now.
I'm going to be changing a lot of those links in there. Going, go for this Ethiopian experience in London now.
I also think it's really interesting in that, I think Eat With, probably had like a really good domestic market to start off with before COVID happened. And now, when you talk about whether it be rental cars or hotels or food experiences, people really are, focusing more about sticking closer at home. So I think that changes the predictability of travel. And I think that probably would have to play into your marketing efforts have changed or having to pivot since the pandemic. So how have you done that? Like, how has your company been able to take the predictability of travel and how it's changed and work it into your particular industry? And Surabhi, I think we'll go to you with this one first, because I'd love to hear how the hotel industry has sort of dealt with this, because I think it's kind of really built on predictability. You have these seasons that, are constantly or continually the high seasons for you. Has that changed, as well as has it become more domestic travel as opposed to international travel?
Yeah, so Dave, I think you very well mentioned that the predictability has changed. And, speaking of seasons, I think March is the time when most of the countries in the globe had got the first bit of vaccination and people thought of traveling. So pre-COVID, we were having booking trends that how certain peak like a Memorial Day in US would come, and we could anticipate the kind of crowd would be. But what a new surprise we got this time is that even though we saw peaks on Memorial Day, but it was not as great as what we saw in the coming weekends after Memorial Day, where people maybe have anticipated that most of us are traveling and that would be a problem altogether to in terms of reducing the safety measures. So people traveled the consecutive weekends. Speaking of how hospitality and we at OYO got prepared, so from onboarding, we have shortened our onboarding process from 30 days to 15 days altogether. So be it, bringing new supply in wherever the demand is there, because a lot of hoteliers had shut shops altogether to, stop the operational costs which they were recurring, as and when the regulations are getting relaxed, convincing the owners to open the hotels and, predicting that, hey, we will see good uptick coming in the coming next few days, to demand catering, where people at a call center desk who are booking, and when we see a lot of call volumes coming all together, we now have started maintaining uh, such kind of manpower which can be pulled in in times within a 2 or 3 hour span altogether, which can cater to the reservations, or even there are escalations, because last week only we saw a hurricane in US altogether, where we saw 15,000-16,000 calls all together coming, and people were in a havoc because of safety as well as distress on ground. So yeah, both in terms of catering services to the users, be it adding supply and giving the best possible accommodation in the best possible time, we are working on all three aspects altogether.
And I think that's really good for affiliates to know, because when they're out there promoting things, if the actual, the season has changed where there's a bit higher booking and that kind of stuff, then we can adjust our promotional efforts in order to take advantage of that, right?
Yeah. So it's no more about, let's just write a blog for Halloween, but it is something which is recurring, because 1 year of staying at home has made people distress, and every now and then when they seek an opportunity, they are just going out working. The length of stays have also increased. So initially, where people are just going out for 2 or 3 days, have now started going for a week also. So the length of stays have also getting impacted, which definitely helps the affiliates getting higher revenue which OYO will take into account, and definitely the commission will also increase accordingly.
Right, that's great.
So all predictability is out the window. We have to start listening to what's going on right now, and
Pretty
I think
much.
that's really changed in the in the rental car industry. It used to be like summer road trips; that was the big time. Now I think rentals are just all over, everywhere. People are getting out and doing the road trips. And what have you guys seen for predictability? It must be an exciting time for rental cars as well. Like, it's exciting for everyone, really, coming out of this.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That it's always been the summer, as you said. It's always been the summer when all the people in customer service started like getting nervous, panicking. I can't have any holidays because that was the absolute peak for us always. But we expect, and we have some signals from our partners that this time the autumn period will be busier than summer, and this is basically it's a public information that Ryanair are expecting a much busier autumn than what was happening in summer. So yeah, absolutely, and predictability. Don't get me started on that one.
I know that's a tough question.
Yeah, because I don't know. Well, it all depends. So I'm an account manager that's kind of responsible for the region of Central and Eastern Europe mainly, and so I'm trying to kind of find the sort of logic in the government restrictions, and it's just not possible. So you don't know what will happen the next week. So yeah, but I'm pretty sure once the politics is out of this, we're gonna see some great numbers very soon. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's tough trying to discuss what every government is so different. And that's going to lead me. I'm actually looking at some of the questions because we've got a few questions for rental cars that I think we should probably
for sure
hit up. Anna asked, first of all, I'm going to get to the one that made me think about it. But Anna was just asking about, do rental cars have only trusted rental car providers? So I think that's asking, are there other lesser known ones?
Yeah.
Is that what the question is?
Yeah, so we work with all the major brands. So your Sixt and Avis and all these global current companies. But we also are trying always to include local suppliers as well.
That's great.
But what's the definition of trusted is a different story. So we have quite strict conditions under which the suppliers can plug in. It's the age of the fleet, average age of the cars. It's the reputation and so on. So and also what's helping us a lot is we have the largest database of customer reviews. So on our website, each customer can leave a review and a rating on location level. So it's not just a review for Sixt; it's a review for Sixt in Miami airport, for example. So
that's great as affiliate as on our end, that we know that when we send people there, they're going to get people that are rated, that are trusted, even if and they've been vetted.
Yeah, and I absolutely understand where the question is coming from, because in the past, car rental business really has been a bit of a Klondike, so there were like no clear rules, terms and conditions and things like that. And what we have been trying to do over the last 15 years that we've been in the business is reforming the market. Really putting pressure on the suppliers. So we now have much clearer terms and conditions, so the customer can knows exactly what they can expect. So we've been working hard on making this service a bit more predictable for the customer.
Perfect. That's I think that's
It
good to
helps
hear.
us to give
For
confidence
sure.
to say go to Rentalcars to find the right car for you and let you know that you're going to take care of them, which I think is really cool.
And take the advice from other customers. It's all on the website, and it's a really transparent tool, and I think it's worth taking the advice, to be honest. But also, like, we offer insurance on the website as well, so if something goes wrong, we can help with that as well.
Great.
Awesome.
So that's good to know.
Yeah, I think that is really good to know. So with all that being said, maybe we can just pull out our crystal ball here for a few seconds, and I'd like to get each one of you to maybe give us sort of maybe two trends you see maybe happening in your particular industry and in the travel industry in general, whether that be to do with international travel or domestic travel, just to sort of give us an idea of how you see things maybe going forward. Obviously, we're not going to hold you to that, but at least give us an idea from when we promote things from our side of things. Hey, can we start playing into trends that you think are probably going to see happening? And I think we'll start with Esther on this one.
Oh, yes, of course. I mean, while you're talking about it, I was thinking that, well, I mean, in food, maybe it's a little bit different, but something that I really want to highlight as a trend is that most of the people are really conscious about what they are eating right now. So even when they are traveling. So a trend that we are seeing in the last months was really an increase in all the vegan experiences or plant-based kind of cuisine. That it's really, I think, really interesting, because even people that are not 100% vegan or vegetarian, they just want to try something new, or have like changed their diet according to a more sustainable kind of living, I will say, style of life. So I think that is really interesting for all the bloggers there, because I mean, it's something that, of course, I mean, we are talking about it for a lot of time, but it's really good to see also this tendency in travel and also in all the food industry. So it's really something that I really care a lot. So I think it's good to highlight. And then another thing that, of course, I mean, it's not a new trend, but really people are traveling with families and kids a lot. So even for us, for example, that bring us to create new kind of experiences. For example, we create in Paris things to do with kids in the afternoon, because sometimes, of course, I mean, kids, they don't want to visit museums or these kind of things. So we are trying to, thanks to the cuisine that, it's really easy for kids and can be really super fun. We are trying to create new experiences in order to involve all the family in this kind of moments. And that is also good for domestic and locals, because I mean, of course, when you are traveling to Paris, you can do a croissant cooking class with your kids, but even for a family visiting Paris, or just, someone that wants to do something different, I think it's also a good trend to highlight. And I just...
many ideas.
Oh, yeah. I know food is like that.
One thing before we go, I just want to ask, Saeed has a question about, does Eat With provide experiences with halal food? So you obviously have a whole array of foods.
Yeah. Of course, I mean, we are covering more or less all the, let's call me, diet, because I mean, of course, we have kasher, we have halal. So we are trying really to be open to a lot of different, we are trying to be open to everybody. Everything. So incorporating all these kind of, yes.
So I would say the trend for food is variety, vegetarian. I'll open up to all the other things. I love that more people, even if you're not vegetarian, that people are actually looking for the vegetarian aspect of travel.
Yes, it's really, I think that will be something, in the next years, we will be really, following all the plant-based kind of menu. We have like trends like Impossible Food and this kind of thing in the US. And I think that all the food industry is going more or less in this area.
Awesome.
And Surabhi, what about in the hotel booking side of things? What sort of trends do you see happening in the near future?
So definitely, Dave, I think flexibility will be something which we will continue to see as a concern for the next 8 to 9 months going forward. With there are few countries which might even experience the third wave of COVID, and we don't know what happens after that. So all of us have to be stitching to flexibility. Hoteliers will have to ensure that they give the consumers the ease to book, the flexibility to cancel. And I think OYO brings a very good proposition altogether here, where there is no prepayment required while booking the hotel for more than 95-96% of the hotels in our portfolio. So that is definitely a cherry on the top, which I think most of the affiliates over here should work on while creating content. Basically to differentiate between different kinds of brands which they can play out to their uh, best use. And the second would be around sanitization of stays. I think another 3 to 4 years, this is not definitely people around are moving without mask in most of the countries after getting the vaccine shot. But when it comes to taking experiences or staying in hotel, they will definitely go ahead and always keep an eye on what kind of sanitized place they are staying at or what they are consuming altogether. Because obviously the ticket side has increased. People have started moving out with families, as Esther very, very well mentioned, and the length of stay has also increased. Uh, and with most of the people staying at homes, ease of travel and length of stay, people can travel anywhere, and because now most of us are working from home, it's easier to travel to a place, start working, and then move into the weekend. So I think these 2-3 points are something which we should always keep an eye for another 12 months down the line.
Right, I think that's great because that gives us ideas too about what we should be promoting
The wheels are turning
when we're promoting different affiliates and that kind of stuff, because we want to take advantage of trends that are there, obviously, especially ones, when you talk about trends, sometimes you're talking about 6 months out or 1 year out, but I think you're right when it comes to like sanitizing and all that kind of stuff. That's going to be something that's going to be with us for quite a long time. What about in the car rental side of things there, Petr?
Yes, I think it's flexibility and safety. I would say that those are the main two selling points at the moment. Obviously, we've talked about flexibility, but car rental from the sort of pandemic perspective is obviously much safer than public transport or even taxi and things like that. So the customer can kind of, or the traveler can kind of feel a bit safer when they can go with their family to the car and have the option to travel on their own. But obviously, like in general, if you asked me this 2 years ago, I would have said, look, focus on, if you're in the US, focus on Miami, focus on California, places like that, all the major cities in the US. If you're in Europe, and that talking of the US, that is still the case, because there's a lot of domestic travel going on there. In Europe, that would have been Mallorca, that would have been Spain, Croatia, Italy, all the Mediterranean destinations where people just love to rent cars. And obviously, the sort of trend at the moment is more domestic travel. In the US, that has always been the case. That there's a bit more domestic travel, a lot more domestic travel than in Europe. But I'm pretty sure it will end at some point, even in Europe, that people will be a bit more free to go where they want. Hopefully.
I'm even noticing when you touched on it, you said you would have said Miami and the major places. We're even noticing that places like South Dakota, or like things that never really got the recognition before on our blog, now people are booking through there, and we're like, they're going to the more rural places or the more less popular places.
Yeah, which is, I think, the result of domestic tourism, right? And exploring your own backyard kind of mentality.
Yeah.
Right.
And I love that you mentioned safety, because someone had a question about safety, and I think this is a really great one. Mishra, about how would you recommend that we promote travel and safety at the same time? Because this is a balance. I was curious about, like, do we say all the cars are clean before you go in? Don't worry about it. It's sanitized. Now you're on your way. Or all the rooms are cleaned. Like, what would you guys recommend from
a messaging
side? Yeah. So let's start with Esther and go with some food, because
yes, of
you're
course.
right there.
Yes, of course. Yeah, I mean, of course, it's I think it's something that saying like that, like promote safety, it's not super, appealing. But in any case, I mean, let's say that all the questions that we are getting through our customer service are all about safety. So I think that really we need to reassure people that all the measures are taken. So I mean, I know that we are saying about being nimble and everything, but of course, I mean, for us, for example, as I said, we are following all the restaurant restrictions. So right now we are all about Green Pass. We are asking Green Pass to all our hosts and these kind of things. So I think it's something that, of course, we need to reassure people in order to feel free to travel and also to eating out again. So it's something that, well, my recommendation is really, I know that, I mean, it sounds like a list, but well, maybe, try to create some content that can really reassure. For example, even take some picture. I mean, right now, at the beginning, we were not super keen to do it, but we had on our website, for example, picture of people wearing masks, or for example, showing them how they are preparing the food. So all our chefs are, wearing gloves and masks when they have to prepare a dinner. So this thing, I think, can really help people to trust and gain trust as a brand, to the fact that we are really taking care of them and with everything that we could right now.
I think that's a good point, because I think when we first started, we were all going, "Oh, should we mention that?
Yeah.
How?"
Yeah, I mean,
but
it's
become
difficult
the new normal
because
now.
yeah, it's the new normal. So I think that we do not have to be afraid to say like, yes, I mean, our chef is wearing a mask when he's cooking. I mean, it makes totally sense, and maybe you could have done it before even. So I think it totally makes sense to also show this kind of content. Of course, I mean, it's not maybe the first picture in your article, but of course, I mean, it's really worth to mention it in order to reassure people so they can really have an experiences without having this fault that we are having since more than 1 year right now.
Yeah.
I think so, for sure. And Surabhi, what about in the hotel industry? What are some suggestions for people to be able to promote travel and safety in that industry at the same time?
I think, Dave, speaking of OYO as a brand also, and most of the hospitality brands, they are clearly mentioning on their website and for different countries altogether about the sanitization techniques. The information is that detailed that you will even get to know that the staff at the hotel is vaccinated. What kind of sanitation is there? Is it sanitized before you check into the property, sanitized before your eyes, or is it sanitized before already in advance? And there are scrubbed clean tags, for example, in OYO. So geography to geography basis the ease how we can easily deploy it with tech in place. Most of the brands are clearly communicating it on the website and on the OTAs that what kind of sanitization measures are being taken, and that will definitely drive a lot of comfort in the users who are booking. Not just about wearing masks, but even about that the staff who will be catering to them on the property will definitely be vaccinated, and there is a safe space for the family and the consumer to stay there. So we should definitely check with the brands, and the detail is clearly mentioned with most of the brands.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think that's a good point. And I remember what Petr saying that it's changing everywhere. It's different with each government or each country. And I know that's what we do. We often put it off on that, say, check the local website and do a link, and like I'm wondering, how do you keep up on that, and how do you promote it from the brand side? Petr. Sorry. I'm looking at
this
you, but
one's to you.
Can't see me because you don't know where I'm looking.
Yeah, so I think from a car rental point of view, from our sort of products, what we promote is especially the flexibility. So if something changes, the customer doesn't need to worry, because usually the change takes a bit longer. I mean, I know the notice is not it's not amazing. Usually it's like a couple of weeks or even a week when the government decide to move a country up the list or down the list. But we have the 48 hours cancellation policy. So it's that kind of, like, usually no government would dare give in a shorter notice. So it's that kind of works. And on the safety, it's we have been promoting some key features of the car rental companies that they actually do make a point of cleaning the car each time and making sure that everything is really safe. So yeah, it's
I think the messaging from all of that is just upfront. It's a new normal. Let people know exactly what they're getting, right? I think that
definitely.
Yeah.
So let's take a couple of moments and let's just talk a little bit about the actual programs. I know a lot of the things that we talked about the industry itself will mimic themselves when you're talking about your program as well, about how things have changed and that kind of and those kind of details. But what would you say would be the I would say, what are in particular demand right now for travel for you guys? Like, what destinations should people be focusing on when promoting your particular brand? And we'll start with Esther.
We keep putting you first.
Yeah, it's fine. So I mean, as we said before, I mean, we cannot predict anything. So I can just talk about what you have seen in the last months, basically.
Yeah.
So I think that the big trend was for a lot of travel company, Greece. Greece actually was one of our best seller, and it was, I think, one of the only countries that was able to attract also people from international travel. I was happy to see that also Americans that were allowed to travel. I mean, most of them, they choose Greece, because I see from our guests, most of them, they were from Greece. So I'm super happy to have them back. And also Croatia. It was so surprised because I don't see the same amount of people from international travel come to Spain, that before was one of the biggest country. But of course, I mean, I will say that Greece for international travel was the one that, at least for our point of view, was one of that we have a lot of demands. And then, I mean, for us, it's a lot of domestic travel. So, of course, like US people, we see that people want to go out, want to travel, even for, we had a long weekend just right now with Labor Day. So people were around, they want to have, dinners and want to travel a little bit. Then for us, it's really interesting right now, the UK market. Because UK, I mean, also people, they were not allowed to travel. So it's true that they, as you said, like a day before, I mean, they want to explore the backyard. So definitely, I mean, the UK was really interesting for us as a destination. But in general, let's say that we have seen also a trend in people going kind of escape in the countryside. So, I mean, people are not visiting anymore like big cities, but they prefer to go and have something, I don't know, visiting a winery or having a wine tasting in a place that, I mean, maybe they will not visiting in general. So it's good, let's say, to rediscover, I mean, different territory. But well, that is all around Europe. But I mean, if I have to sum up for the countries, I will say Greece, UK, and the US, of course, are the main countries right now for us.
Perfect. And what about you, Petr? What do you see in the for car rentals? Because I know car rentals are they rely a lot on international travel. So where are you seeing the hot spots right now?
So it depends on what your visitors where they are, because if you're in the US, you will go in the US for a holiday most likely. So that hasn't changed really. That trend has actually strengthened a little bit. If you're in Russia, you're more likely to go domestic, which never used to be the case, because in Russia the car rental industry has some competition from other options. As well. So we used to have, say, in the region of 90%, 95% international travel from Russia, from customers based in Russia. So, but that has changed a lot. So quite a few customers are renting, especially Sochi, places like that. So and also Turkey. That's the one exception for Russian customers. Because Turkey has been a bit friendlier to Russia in terms of open borders. And in Europe, I think for now, I would say still focus on Mediterranean, definitely. For car rental, that is the top option, especially the islands, but also like mainland Spain. Greece is a great example. They have great food, so I'm not surprised, Esther, that they have performed so well.
Yeah.
And Italy, also Cyprus and places like that. So it's definitely still. I mean, yes, there is quite a lot of rentals going on in Germany, in France, of course, in the UK, but especially during summer months, normally normally it's the Mediterranean. Still.
So car rentals is almost business as usual with people still renting everywhere. One thing I've noticed though are local travelers booking rental cars, because I like for here in Canada, I'm noticing our US and Canada car rentals are going down because I think most of us have a car. So we'd always rely on the international tourists coming in and renting the car. Have you noticed that, or is it like people that would normally not drive that are now renting cars locally?
So
would you know?
So we're basically almost 100% or not like maybe 90-95% reliant on airport locations. So most customers really use the car when they land and just go to the car rentals center and take the car. So I think I mean. I can't say I have the numbers in my head 100%, but we do see like the domestic and domestic airport pickups quite popular still.
Perfect. And then Surabhi, I do want to hear from you as well about this, because I think it's important to talk about sort of what the hot markets are right now, so that we can focus our efforts in places that are going to convert the best.
Yeah. So Dave, I think after COVID, mostly the travel is domestic. People are very skeptical of moving international borders, and even if they are with changing rules and regulations of governments every 10-15 days, there is a lot of uncertainty, and international travel is not what people plan, within 2 or 3 days span. At least 15-20 days in advance is what people take into account. So domestic is definitely something which we are seeing, a hot selling thing across in the post-recovery world. And speaking of markets, Southeast Asian markets still have a long way to go. The recovery is very slow over there. But for us, the top markets are US, UK, Europe, and most of the travel is inbound. Europe, I think whatever Esther and Petr mentioned, the trends are similar. Right now in some of the Mediterranean countries are picking up, and Greece, Italy being one of them. These are also getting a lot of attraction. And US, the domestic, it has always been more of a domestic travel, and that the sentiment has grown more in the post-recovery world. So for me, I think it would definitely be US, UK, Europe, and Russia, but still a lot of way to go for Southeast Asian markets right now.
Right. Okay. Good to know. Definitely.
All right. So I think that a lot of people I'm actually looking at some of the questions, and I've seen some people like, how do we start working with you? And what's the best way to promote? So I want to get into this. I want to ask each of you, like, I want some tips on how to start working with your brand right now. Like if we sign up with Travelpayouts today and get going with you, Surabhi, how do we start working with OYO, and what is like some of the best practices that we can start promoting them?
Yeah, so I think you can. We are very flexible in reaching out and getting things done. The speed of working with OYO is something what the company stands for. So you reach out to Travelpayout, the team is quite handy on that, and within 24 hours you get vetted, and the entire process is there. The moment we start seeing bookings and the checkout happens, you get a commission in your account in the next 60 to 90 days, mostly under 60 days. So yeah, that's one thing. Speaking of what is something which you should, the affiliate should pay attention to while curating content for us is, as we all discussed in the webinar till now, what are the major key points to keep in mind. But over and above that, it's not more about promoting affiliate links, but more about adding personalization to the content, and over and above personalization, drive the value of money to the consumers, that what all they are getting as a package whenever they are promoting a brand. So it's not just accommodation, but even the ease and flexibility to travel or book without pre-payments, or having a curated experience altogether when you travel with your family. So these are few things with a touch of personalization will definitely show wonders in the entire affiliate performance.
Perfect. And Esther, what about you when it comes to travel, it comes to food experiences? What are some tips on how we can start working with you right away to get the best bang for our buck, for lack of a better term?
Oh, yes. Yes, I think that, of course, we have like the normal tips that everybody knows about affiliate marketing. So knowing your audience, find a niche. But well, I think that as we are talking about food and travel together, it's also interesting to try to tell a story, because if you go, for example, on our website, you can see that in every for each dinner or for each event, there is a description, but also the host. So sometimes it's really good also to highlight this part, because in most of our experiences, you are not just having a dinner, but you are also meeting someone. So I think that it's something that maybe it's worth to be highlighted, because I was talking before about culture, but I think it's also something that people are super interested right now to know different culture that are around them in their own city and everything. So I think it's something that is really worth to highlight. Of course, like being concentrated of some niche, because in food, like every single markets and food and travel together, of course, there are some niche that are really, the big trends that we are discussing right now. So really take advantage of this part, like as we said before, vegan, plant-based. Because most of the people, I see that we have a lot of research in terms of also SEO of this kind of content. So please just, keep an eye on all the trends and be aware to the fact that we have a big variety of different events from different kind of cuisine and different type of event type, like food tour and cooking class and everything. So just really take advantage of all that we can offer you in terms of experiences. And found a niche that can be interesting for your audience already.
These are excellent
great
tips. Yeah, storytelling and experiences, both of you are saying. And all right, you got anything to add to that about rental cars?
So I'm amazed how similar all these services are.
Yeah,
So
and when there's such differences,
Yeah.
like such different companies, yet similar service.
In this kind of sense, I think both Surabhi and Esther kind of summed it up really nicely. And I think for rental cars, what I would add, of course, to the storytelling and other sort of good practices that we've mentioned already.
Something I find is that if you tell a good story or share an experience, it almost sells itself. People will be like, exactly. I've got to do this road trip. I need a rental car right now when I land in Key West.
Yeah, because we are selling online. So basically, you need to make them fall in love with the story before doing the experiences. So that's why it's a lot about storytelling. And sorry, Peter, interrupt you.
No, it's great. It's great. It's absolutely true. And what I would add is if you have content on airports, how to get to the airport from the airport, this is the best place to use Rentalcars link.
It's a great idea.
Anything to do with, as I mentioned, like the top destinations in the Mediterranean, or in these great places in the US or Canada, where a lot of road trips are happening. These are the best places to use us to promote us.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And I think you recommend maybe partnering your service with another service in that from a promotional standpoint. Like I think for rental cars, it does, like you said, make sense. If you're writing about, flights, or you're writing about, going to the hotel, it's very easy to align it with other industries. Do you have any suggestions sort of just outside of the obvious?
So I would say, yes, definitely flights, definitely, these airport services and accommodation. And I think that kind of works best. It's I don't think I can come up with anything revolutionary at the moment that wouldn't.
I think you've covered it all. Yeah. You said rent. You said you said the flights. You said insurance. All of that working together. I guess it's thinking about what works.
Yeah. Of course, I have to point out that we also offer insurance as well for car rental. So that's
It's a
like
one-stop shop.
obviously that option is already there, but yeah, absolutely, these travel services all work together.
Cool. One thing I want to know is, do you guys work with bloggers? Like, I know that we have some affiliate partners that reach out to us and say, hey, I see that you like rank really well in this article and it's underperforming in your sales. And they have some suggestions for us. Do you guys have some suggestions of how you have built any relationship with any of the content creators that you work out with? We might as well stick with Petr for now. Because
so we've got like a really wide range of partners, from airlines, OTAs, loyalty providers, and also of course content writers and bloggers. But we stopped kind of specializing in those relationships, and because we realized Travelpayouts are basically doing a better job. So the direct relationship with these partners has kind of ceased, and we're kind of leaving it to the experts, like Travelpayouts, for example. Mm-hmm. But I remember when I started, we still used to have some direct relationships with them, and it was great. And in some ways, it's much more kind of interesting from an account manager's point of view, because you're learning a bit more about content and not just booking something. It's a much more colorful world. Let's say.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, but at the moment, these, like most of the time, these partners are plugged in through partners like Travelpayouts.
Yeah, is that the same for you, Surabhi, or are you guys having any interaction between bloggers or places like Travelpayouts? Or
yeah, so it has primarily been Travelpayouts till now, but in this post-recovery world, and especially the newer markets like US, we've started exploring direct relationships also, but it's just the start. I cannot come up with the best learnings. We've just done a few, tests. What stands out very well is, and what really works out is when bloggers who are, working directly with us, when they are curating content to solve problems for the consumers and, answering that in the blog they are writing or whatever. So, for example, I'm mostly working from home most of us are working from home, and I would want to go for a vacation, and if I get to see content around work, best vacation places, it's highly likely that the clicks on those articles and the conversion on those articles will increase. So that's the only learning we've had in the direct relationships we've built in now. It's a long way to go. We've just started, but yeah, for us mostly it has been Travelpayouts, and they've done a phenomenal job till now.
Great. And Esther, what do you? Is that the same for you as well?
I have more or less the same answer as Petr, actually, because we are working right now with a lot of, with Travelpayout, of course. So we made them doing the job for us, let's say. In the past, we have done a lot of collaboration, and I just have to say that, we are sometimes, of course, open to some kind of optimization. So doing some special project with some bloggers. Of course, we have done it in the past, but right now, let's say that it's more an exception. We are basically working through platforms right now to do this kind of jobs.
I think that's really interesting, especially from our standpoint, in that, it was, we've seen things change this way as well, is that, you started out working with more personal relationships with different companies and different brands, and now it's shifted to more of an umbrella model like Travelpayouts or other different affiliate networks, whereas the relationship is actually built through them as opposed to the actual account managers in the brands. And I think that, obviously there's advantages and disadvantages of that from both sides of things, but it's interesting to see it moving that way. I think from a convenience standpoint and an ease of getting things to work, I think it's there's a huge benefit to that for sure. But I think also there's the creative side of things that could be explored a little bit more through personal relationships. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I think for us, it's really helped when people have reached out to us and just said, like, we've had some people say to us, like, these are your top performing, let's get these working. And I think that for us, that's really, really helped us a lot. And maybe it's something to think about for you in the future, because I know that it's obviously helped the brand, some of the other brands that we've worked with.
And I have noticed actually, like, there is a big difference between different affiliate networks. You know, like there's different people have different levels of personal service as opposed to, you know, I think that, you know, the larger they get, if you're looking at some other networks that are absolutely huge, you sort of lose that personal service. Whereas, you know, a place like Travelpayouts still offers that, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, so I want to get, we have a few minutes left. I want to get to a couple of the questions. I've been trying to keep an eye on them, but now I'm going to go down here. Somebody said there's a lot of affiliate tools listed for each program, but really what really works? Now you guys have really touched on that, the storytelling, the experiences. But I guess what they're probably asking here is the affiliate links.
Oh, you got links, you got banners, you got all this types of different ways. What is the better converting affiliate tool for your particular company?
Yeah, that's something I've always been curious about, because we kind of stick with links, but I want to hear.
Well, traditionally, I think links have been, you know, touted as probably the best way to get click-throughs. But hey, maybe you have a different opinion.
Let's ask Surabhi what she thinks.
So I think links tops the list, followed by banners and blogs. So yeah, that's pretty much that for us.
Yeah, is that kind of straight through across the board? Because I've seen some people that just they'll have like a things to do and then like 5 choices for a tour, and then a next thing to do, 5 choices. And I've always been curious, is that something you guys recommend? Would EatWith recommend that? Like, say I'm going to London and here's the top 3 banners.
I think it works actually, but well, something that I've noticed that is working a lot with Travelpayouts is that they have created for us a widget for the search.
Yeah.
So that was a tool that's really worked for us, because in general, I mean, most of the people that are writing about us, I mean, they are just explaining the concept and then, I mean, do your experience wherever you want. And so it's really cool to have this tool created by Travelpayout. It's really search widgets. So, I mean, it's always links and blah, blah, but it's true that, I mean, gives more option to somebody reading an article, because, I mean, they can, you know, let's see if there is, I don't know, an experience in Vietnam or just in my city. So that's something that is work a lot.
Right.
That's great to hear, actually, because I wouldn't think, like in my mind, I wouldn't think, and from an experience side of things, that a widget would actually convert when it comes to hotels or it comes to car rentals. Yeah, I could definitely see that being one of the preferred methods. But it's interesting here that is working as a conversion model for you.
Yeah, I will say also because, I mean, we have a coverage that it's really global. So, I mean, if we were active, I don't know, only in Greece, for example, it's really disappointing to, I don't know, search for Italy, they don't have anything. But the fact that we are covering a lot of, like, especially food destination, I think it's good because, I mean, basically people that can choose wherever they want to go. And that's why I think it's something that it's working. Of course, I mean, for other cities, like sometimes it's good to have like the top sellers experiences. But well, in general, we are talking about travel. Having the search widget, it's really helpful for us.
Ah, interesting. Is that the same for rental cars? Have you noticed any widgets or anything that works better?
It's quite similar, but I think it very much depends on the type of business that puts it on their website. Because obviously, if you are actually selling some product like flights or hotels, then we can think of a bit more a bit more advanced integration. But for content creators, I think the links and the search box are probably the best, and banners, of course, as well. So we've got some dynamic solutions, but they're normally, obviously, that they rely on the information that we get from the user. So if there's no transaction going on in the background, we don't know where the customer is going to, when. So I think they are on offer on Travelpayouts as well. So if someone has this kind of business, that they are there for them to use. But I wouldn't recommend them for anyone who's mainly focused on creating content for the readers.
All right.
And then when it comes to another question I had, so when it comes to, say, different ways of promoting your affiliate program, so obviously from a content creator standpoint, there's, writing a blog post and getting it out there. But I'm interested. Well, I'm interested to see actually if if any of your partners or anything have had success in converting through things like social media or email newsletter or anything like that, or other ways that they can go ahead and promote through the affiliate network your product, because it's obviously a one size doesn't fit all, but I'd love to know if there's some different ways that we can think about it that work different for different industries.
Let's go, Surabhi.
So I think apart from the blogs, I think something which is working really well for us is newsletters and emails. I think most of us are spending a lot of time online, be it on social media or even on keeping a tab on the emails. Social media comes third in line, but I think followed by blogs, it is newsletters and emails, and then social media.
I think people might be getting a little bit of social media fatigue, and being bombarded by everything.
Yeah, redirection link and the steps involved in getting to the deal page, or where that increases when you are redirecting through social media. So that is easily saved when you are remarketing through newsletters and emails.
Right.
That works really
well. And what about in the car rental sector? I mean, that's a little bit more difficult to push out through social media, I think, in the sense that, it's not really attached to maybe you can attach it to a personal experience, but is there any other ways that sort of work better in that from the rental cars perspective, Petr?
Yeah, it's absolutely true, Dave, that social media have never really worked for us as much as they work for others. So I think it makes sense. So emails are absolutely one of the main channels, especially when we know, or the partner knows, that the customer is going somewhere, cross-selling, pre-departure emails, things like that. So that definitely works. Also, I would like to mention there is a cookie policy as well for us. So it's 30 days for rental cars. So if obviously the more traffic you send to us, the more likely it is that is going to convert. But otherwise, I think for content creators, there are also options like like pop under options and things like that, which work quite well for some partners. So this is also an option.
Oh, good to know. What about in the tour side of things, or the experience side of things, Esther? What sort of
I have to say that as we are talking about food, for us, social media is really important.
I was going to say that's probably opposite. Yeah.
Well, because it's more of a visual medium, right? Like
it's really a social media content. So I mean, imagine it's kind of food porn kind of thing. I mean, so for us, social media are really, really important, and Instagram is performing in general pretty well, even for affiliates, I think. So that's something that, of course, I mean, it's different from the other industries, I think.
Yeah, and I think that's the important message, that everyone needs to think about what they're selling. It can't just be one rule fits everything. It's like, this is the experience, this one's social, this one works better for newsletter, this one works better for the targeted article about how to get from Charles de Gaulle to downtown Paris or something like that. So,
of course. I mean, and for us, pop-ups and banners are not really the thing. It's more about like creating content on social, or really a blog post telling more about the story of the host that we were saying before, the menu and this kind of stuff. So it's a different kind of storytelling, I will say.
Yeah, I think so. Well, I've got you here. Tess McCoy asked, does EatWith plan to go back offline again? I didn't know that you were offline, so that's just something I thought I'd ask.
Offline in
I don't know.
Sense.
Okay, I thought maybe I just thought I'd ask and get that out there.
I mean, just because I mean, we had online experiences before that were like online cooking classes. But we are back. Yeah, now I get it. I mean, it took me a while. We are online. The website is online. It's fine.
That's kind of why I wanted to bring that one up, so people aren't going, are they offline?
No, but we had, like, during the pandemic, and it's still something that we have. We have online cooking classes, So that it's mainly in the US, because we have a big partnership with MasterChef. So basically everybody that's eliminated from the current show organize online cooking classes for their fans. So it's really, it's really good experiences, I will say. But with in-person experience, let's call it like that, we are back since, the restaurants are open up again. So in April we open up in the UK and in Israel, because there was the first countries open up restaurants. But now, more or less each country open outdoor or indoor kind of food experiences. So we are back on track.
And that brings me nearing the end. I just had actually one last question before I leave you guys with your final thoughts. I know for Dave and I, we've noticed travel took a beating just at COVID, and we just dropped right off. But we were looking at our analytics, and we've gone up 300% in booking. It's really starting to take off again. Have you guys noticed a big surge in the past few months? Surabhi, and I know everyone's nodding, of course, but we might as well here's something optimistic and exciting before we end off. It's all been optimistic, yes. Don't get me wrong, but let's end it on how we're doing.
We've seen a good surge post vaccinations, and people have all the more reasons to travel, and the ease and with the people they're traveling has also changed. So I think now going forward with vaccinations taking place, it's just a road ahead where we'll see a lot of goodies, both in terms of adding value to hospitality brand or other brands, and even for the affiliates which are working for us, both in terms of getting higher commission. So I think the road ahead is definitely dreamy.
Yeah, dreamy. I love definitely. That one. Petr, how about you? Can you top dreamy?
I don't think so. No. So obviously there are still challenges in car rental with the prices that I mentioned, which are affecting the conversion, and but yes, absolutely there are great signs of recovery at the moment, and I'm absolutely sure as soon as the international restrictions are lifted, we're gonna see. What's the word? Is fantastic good enough?
That is awesome. We'll go fantastic with that. is just as good as dreamy. Definitely.
Fantastic growth.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Yes. I have also to share, we have seen, of course, a recovery. A fantastic recovery, if I take your word, Petr. But also, something that is really encouraging. We have already bookings for next year. So that's amazing, especially for international travelers, because before we were working a lot with US customers, and we see that they're already booking for next summer. So that's really encouraging, guys. So, it's finger crossed, of course, but it's really a signal of, recovery everywhere, and people that want to go out, they want to travel. So that is really, a positive sign from the industry.
So it's good to hear. Right? The positive signs are there. Travel's making its way back. So as everybody knows, now's the time to get on and join those affiliate programs and start building those relationships and get them out there. Because as you know, the best way is to get in on the wave up, right? And that's where we are now. So everybody should definitely think about joining OYO, EatWith, as well as Rentalcars, their affiliate programs, and start making money, because it is actually starting to see that trend of things moving forward.
Yeah. And just before we go, I wanted to ask if we've left anything out, of you guys just want to really give one last message or anything like that, can let us know right now. All we have to say is it's exciting. We know that travel is coming back, and we're seeing. I think the one solid we've known for our little last message is that everyone wants to travel. Once we can again, and once it's safe, people will get back there again. I think it will recover. It's not that doom and gloom that we all thought at the beginning of 2020. It's exciting again. Ester, can I go to you first? Do you have any last anything to add?
No,
you don't have to add anything.
Spectacular dreaming, fantastic. I just really, I just want to leave everybody and thanks everybody on these positive notes that, we are happy to see travelers back, and we are waiting even for more travelers to come back to Europe and everywhere.
Excellent. Well, I know we have a lot to think about. I know I'm going to get right down to business and change a lot of my links, think more about local, think more about the hotspots, think more about the trends. And I think that's the message for today.
Yeah, so a big shout out to everybody for joining us today. And also a big shout out to all of our panelists for giving us their expertise. I know I definitely learned a lot. I'm sure we're going to be talking about this afterwards. And a big shout out to Travelpayouts for hosting this. I hope everybody learned a lot, got a lot of information, and is ready to get out there and join these affiliate programs and make yourself some money. So, because that's what affiliates are, and get out there and promote companies that you believe in, like the ones we've had on today.
Yeah,
so,
you guys had great information. I'm excited to get to work.
So thank you, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it, and travel safe, and we'll see you down the road. Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 All.
Thank you. Bye-bye.